Part 2. You will hear a person speaking about Versailles. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Welcome to the Palace of Versailles. I am delighted to welcome you all on this journey through history in a magnificent setting. I hope you all had a comfortable trip from your hotels in Paris. Today I will explain the layout of the palace and we will speak a little about its construction. So, right now we are standing before the royal court facing the entire palace. Behind the royal court is another courtyard called the Marble Court. This was the original entrance of the old castle. To our left is the south wing of the castle, and behind it the south lawn. To our right is the north wing, and behind that is the north lawn. The north wing hosts the chapel just beside us to the right, and on the far right of the north wing is the opera house, where the nobility enjoyed some of the first works of Purcell and Lully. Now, as we enter the palace, the rooms directly to your left are the Queen's chambers, also known as the chambers of the Dauphine. North of these rooms are the closets and chambers of the King, or the Dauphin. You'll notice the rooms of the Dauphine, that was Marie Antoinette, the wife of King Louis XVI, are more spacious than the King's rooms. They were probably used to accommodate her vast selection of dresses and shoes. Within the palace itself, it is still unknown what the purpose of each room was for the court. However, we certainly understand the purpose of the large long room at the very back. This is the magnificent hall of mirrors, decorated ornately in Rococo style.
Before you hear the rest of the presentation, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 17 to 20.
For those of you interested in the history of Versailles, the original building was a hunting lodge built by King Louis XIII of France. One of his architects, Philibert Le Roy, replaced it with a castle in 1634. After Louis XIII's death, his son and heir, Louis XIV, took over the lodge and, inspired by the Château de Vaux-le-Vicomte, developed Versailles into a major royal residence with the support of his architect, Lavaux, and later François d'Orbay. The court was now established in the palace, so more pavilions and houses were built to accommodate employees. After a short delay due to the Franco-Dutch War, work continued on the buildings in 1678 under a new architect, Jules Ardouin Mansart. It was Mansart who designed the famous Hall of Mirrors and ordered the construction of the stables, as well as the servants' quarters and the ministers' wings. Despite interruptions due to many wars and battles, the 17th century was a period of great artistic and cultural development. In 1661, Louis XIV formally announced that he would govern France alone from his centralized court here in Versailles. After this date, the rise of the centralized court became a political and economic feature in Europe during the age of absolutism. The French king became the most prominent musical and cultural patron of this time. The demand for organized public music in the court grew, and more instruments became available for chamber and orchestral music. Instrumentation included the guitar, recorder, harp, oboe, bassoon, trumpet, trombone, and of course harpsichord, a prominent instrument in Baroque music. Unfortunately, everyone, we're running out of time and we must get back to the bus. Let's walk back through the gardens. Just some last comments about King Louis XIV and the palace. Although the castle was repaired and further restored in the later 19th century, it is really thanks to the great patron Louis XIV, the Sun King, that this magnificent palace was developed and that musical culture could thrive under his patronage. The palace and gardens are now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, as it is considered a great historical and cultural French monument.
That is the end of part 2. Now you have half a minute to check your answers.